What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is sex and aging. How many misconceptions do we have about sex, about aging, about sex when people age? A few weeks ago I did a podcast on aging. You can go and listen to it. And there were so many points of view that came up about sex and aging that it requires another separate show on this topic. So let's play with that. But before we go to the show, the actual topic, I would like to say a few words about who I am if you're listening and watching first time. I'm a medical doctor who became Access Consciousness Facilitator and Akashic Record Teacher, 3-day body facilitator, and so many hats. But the main reason why I quit was because I got open heart surgery, which is kind of like supposed to be when you age, but I was only 37. So I was searching for different ways to help myself, and now that I've learned a lot through my journey, I invite people to a different possibility with their health, money, relationship, through private sessions and classes around the world, online, in person, using tools of Access Consciousness and Akashic Records. In the sessions and the podcast, I use all of the tools, but just to clear, Access Consciousness was created by Gary Douglas and co-created with Dr. Dane Hare, and you can find out more on accessconsciousness.com, as well as if I use a clearing statement, which is a weird phrase, it's on the clearingstatement.com. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. So the topic of sex and aging. Let's talk a little bit about sex. What is sex? Because a lot of times we have so many misconceptions of what sex is. In Access we talk about different, elements of sex, because there is a sensuality to sex, meaning that bodies likes to be touched. It's not just copulation, that putting parts together. By the way, it doesn't matter which parts, because a lot of people have a misidentification, misconception that oral sex is not sex. Oral sex is still putting parts together, body parts. But I'd like to talk about the other elements of sex, not just putting parts together, but also about sexuality, sensuality, sexualness, and actual sex, because sex is receiving in this reality. Sex is about being who we are. Sex is walking tall and allowing people to flow energy at us, and also being a contribution in the world, receiving and gifting simultaneously. And sexuality is actually a judgment of sensuality and sexualness. And we'll talk about that in a second, but sexualness is that area where it's about energy of gifting and receiving. It's energy of healing, caring, nurturing, joyful, generative, creative, and expansive and orgasmic energy. It's what you can experience in nature. Have you ever had that amazing, orgasmic experience when you're swimming in the ocean and you're one-on-one with the waves? Some people describe it when they're surfing. Some people describe it when they're just riding the waves in a boat. It doesn't matter, but just think of that moment when you are completely one with nature, completely one with universe, completely one with everything and everyone. That's what sexualness is. It's a beyond description of just copulation or sex. And orgasm is much more that millisecond or a second or a minute of ecstasy after you had the copulation. You can have orgasmic living. You can have all that wonderful, amazing communion with everything and everyone. And that's what orgasm is. Because there is a physical orgasm. Don't get me wrong. There is a medical term for that, which is orgasm. When, like during sex, you have sympathetic system, parasympathetic, and then sympathetic again, when there is a contraction, where it's contraction and then relaxation. All of that create that amazing feeling of orgasm. And there are books on that, how to achieve it, which part to stimulate, how to stimulate. There are a lot of movies done on that. There is a lot of pornography that's been created, because a lot of our sexual excitation is from judgment, from sexuality, how media presents it, how the woman's supposed to look like, how sex supposed to look like, how your orgasm's supposed to feel and look like. All of that is just a judgment. What if you just allow yourself to be? And we're going to do a little exercise. And it's not about, again, taking your clothes off and putting parts together, though you can. But I would like you to kind of like experience full body orgasm just by being that sexualness. Because you always starts with us. It's not about having a partner, it's not about having vibrator, it's not about anything. It's all about point of view we have. And if we have a point of view that sex is dirty, sex is bad, sex is evil, guess what it will create in our life? Exactly that. It will create either lack of sex, because we don't want to be bad, evil, dirty, and awful, or we would create sex, but then we judge ourselves and then we don't feel good about it. There is also rape, there is also abuse, there is a lot of things associated with the judgments and darkness and evil that people create in the name of sex. And I specifically say, because sex by itself is not bad, it's not dirty, it's actually, sexualness is part of who we are. It's a healing ability of the body. Body is the one experiencing sex. Body is the kind of like what feels and senses and does a lot of things. So what if we don't have to have the points of view about sex being bad or evil or dirty? What if it's about actually choosing what works for us? What pleasure can we achieve? Because sex and pleasure come hand in hand. Though some people like pain with sex, which is fine, because for some people pain is pleasure or pleasure is pain. In reality, pain is nothing more than intensity we are not willing to receive. So if the pleasure is going to intensity where we are not willing to receive, it will turn into pain. It's very simple. Pleasure and pain are two sides of the same coin. It's how much pleasure we're willing to receive, or how much pain we are unwilling to receive, and how much we are not aware. Because if we're not aware of things going on in our body will start showing us through the vibrational frequencies. If we ignore it, the volume goes up. If we ignore it, volume goes up again. And then it turns into pain. It's any sensation, including pleasure, we are unwilling to receive will turn into pain. Wow, you say. How come I didn't know that before? Well, you know it now. It's one of the tools of access consciousness. It's about bodies being either turned on or turned off, something that creates a difference in our lives. So what if we don't have to turn off our sexualness? What if we don't have to turn it down? What would that create in our bodies? I wonder how much more healing we can create in our body if we actually turn up our sexualness and have more sex. Doesn't mean I'm inviting you to go out and be promiscuous and have sex with everybody else or have copulation with everybody else. Because as I said, sex is energy. And you can allow yourself to receive, not necessarily copulate with everyone. What if you can receive from the trees around you? What if you can have sex with the ocean? What if you can have sex with the mountains around you? With earth? So we have 3 minutes to our, well, actually it's time for our break. I thought about 3 minutes, but no. Let's go on the break right now, because we have a lot of things to discuss after the break. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Creating on Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we'll continue talking about sex and aging and how our misconception about sex actually influence our choices when we start aging. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is sex and aging. Before we went on the break, I was talking a little bit about my background and about sex, elements of sex, that there is a lot of misconception about sex as copulation and judgment of sexualness. Sex is just energy. It's about healing. Sexualness is about energy of gifting and receiving. And we forget that. Because a lot of times when we start aging, all the judgments about what sex is not, how much sex we're supposed to have as we age. And I remember when I was growing up, I actually shared the room with my grandma and grandpa. They had separate beds. And I never remember them having sex. And to me, they were old. So I'm not sure what was going on there. But it was interesting when my grandmother got kind of remarried at 70. And then I asked her if she had sex. Because to me, it was obvious she didn't. But then I became a doctor, and I started having patients asking me for Viagra at ages of like 70, 80, even 86. And I started thinking, it's like, wait, sex doesn't stop at a certain age. What if it's all about our point of view creating our reality and our point of view creating no sex? And saying that sex is actually receiving energy, how much of aging is actually related to lack of sex, or refusing sex, or resistance to sex, and cutting off our sexualness? What if that's what starts creating the illnesses and aging? I was wondering about that. And before we went on the break, we were talking about doing an exercise of orgasmic energy and pulling it in our body and looking at sex in a different way. So let's do it right now. Close your eyes if you're not driving, and allow yourself to kind of like drop all the barriers that you have. Allow yourself to be present with your body first. Like that. Thank you. And pull the energy of just universe through your head, through your body, and energy of earth through your feet, through your body, and allow yourself to expand, maybe mile, kilometers, 1,000 miles, million miles, and just substitute miles and kilometers wherever you are. Make yourself as big as Earth and allow yourself to contribute to Earth and allow Earth's contribution for your body. Expand even more, expand, 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 expand. And from that space, bring your attention to your body. Just feel your body. And I specific, feel your body from inside, from outside. As a being, you can do that. Maybe touch your body. Maybe just allow yourself to be present with all the energies that's moving right now that have not done that before. Now, remember the best orgasm that you've had so far in your life. It can be sexual, non-sexual, can be in the nature. It can be this lifetime or another lifetime. And pull that energy of that orgasmic feeling, orgasmic sensations, orgasm through your body, through your being, and expand that. More, 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 more. Even more. Even more. Even more. Pull it again. And just ask. You don't have to know how. A lot of people, how do I do that? It's like, no, just ask. My best orgasm. Just, I'm having it now. And you can touch, you can see how you feel with that energy. How does it feel? A little different? What if you can be that 24/7? What will that create in your life? What if that energy can heal anything that you have right now? Any problems you've created with your body? What if that energy can heal it? Because sexualness is about generative, creative, and nurturing. Also healing. What if we don't stop those energies and allow them percolate through our body, through our being? Wow, how much resistance do you have actually to healing? How much value did you put on suffering and aging? What if aging is just another dis-ease in the body? What if passing the years has nothing to do with aging? There are people that at 90 look pretty good, and there are people at 40 that look old. It's not the age, it's the points of view we have. It's the points of view we have about how we're supposed to age. There are young people who go through plastic surgery, who do Botox, who create so much havoc with their bodies just because they refuse to age. But that refusal to age is a resistance. In other shows, I talk a lot about when we resist something, it persists. When we align and agree that it is what it is, we start aging. If we resist aging, when we hate aging, when we say, oh, I don't want to age, I'm afraid, I don't want to be old and crippled, I don't want to blah, 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 in a way we say we are going to be that. Because anytime when we are in the energy of resistance, it means that we align and agree somewhere. It means that we believe that it is going to be that. Instead of, I'll choose that if I choose that. What if it's that simple? And okay, I get a lot of judgment right now. It's like, it's impossible, it's possible, it's blah, blah. No. What if it's our point of view creates our reality? And our mind, our being, has so much power to create things. You know, when we are afraid to catch a cold, guess what happens? Catch a cold. If we're afraid of something that will happen, let's say, get a bad grade in school, what happened then? Get that grade at school. What if we stop all our points of view and allow ourselves to choose something different? There is an interesting instrument that I love in Access Consciousness. Interesting point of view. So it's being an allowance of whatever it is and choosing based on choice. And all we need to do is just look at the things and choose to be an interesting point of view. So think of something. Let's think of aging. And if I'm going to age or not, what if it's an interesting point of view? Let's just say that. Interesting point of view, I have this interesting point of view about aging. Interesting point of view, they have an interesting point of view about aging. Interesting point of view, I have interesting point of view about them having an interesting point of view about aging. How do you feel right now? Any change in your body? My body starts feeling lighter. And by the way, whatever is light is true. Whatever is heavy is a lie. So let's do it again. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view about aging. Interesting point of view. They have this interesting point of view about aging. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view that they have interesting point of view about aging. And you can repeat that phrase for a few times. Let's do it maybe like 3-4 times more and see what it does to our bodies. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view about sex and aging. Interesting point of view. They have this interesting point of view about sex and aging. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view about them having interesting point of view about aging and sex. There's a lot of energy being released, isn't it? It's very simple too. And you can say it anytime with anything. Sex and aging is probably one of the hottest topics right now because a lot of people talk about vitamin V, Viagra, which helps erectile dysfunction. There are a lot of prosthetics. There are a lot of vitamins that are trying to boost sexualness, or actually sexuality, I would say. And especially with aging. Wow, time flies, and it's time for our second break of the show. And when we return, we'll talk more about sex and aging and how we can be more of sexualness and less of sexuality, which is a judgment of sexualness and contraction. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is sex and aging. And in the first couple of parts of our show, we were talking about what is sex, the elements of sex, sex and aging, how much judgment we put on. And it's really about healing and nurturing, because sexualness is gifting and receiving simultaneously, and it's about healing our body. If we cut off sex, we actually start aging much faster. And everything is about point of view. So what if aging is another point of view? And we talked a lot in the prior show on aging, where it's all about our decision and judgments that create our bodies, including aging. Because even to start with, our body was created by us choosing the parents, the genetic material, right? So we paired our parents together, and then we came to this world. This body came to this world. And then we started receiving judgment from other people. Oh, you look like your mother, you look like your father, you look like your aunt, and so on and so forth. Oh, you act like so and so. You don't do that. That's not appropriate. You're acting like blah blah blah. So all of that is creating our bodies. Oh, you're too young to do that, so we start aging faster. It's not appropriate at your age. We speed up our aging. And then we start judging ourselves. Oh, I'm starting to have wrinkles. Anytime when we pay attention to something, anytime when we judge something, we get more of it. Anytime when we resist something, as we talked earlier in the show, you get more of that. So if you look in the mirror and start judging yourself as, oh, I've got more wrinkles, I'm getting old, you're invoking it. Remember, like in fairy tales, the witch always says things 3 times to invoke something, to call on some spirit, to create something. That's the same thing here. We say it more than 3 times a lot of times. I have more wrinkles. I'm old. Oh, I look ugly today. And the body is listening and starts creating it. It's that simple. It's about energy of the universe doesn't have any judgments, good or bad or ugly. So when you're saying something that you don't desire, it creates. If you say something that you desire, it creates. So why we don't create what we desire? There is so many points of view about that. Because you know how you ask and you shall receive? That's exactly it. So when we ask for something we don't desire, like aging or wrinkles or getting old or getting ill or getting feeble, all of that gets created that very fast because we are asking for it. There is a famous joke about the guy on the bus and an angel sitting on the bus. The guy on the bus is thinking, oh my God, life sucks. My wife is a bitch. My boss is an asshole. My work is horrible. I don't have money. My children are idiots. The angel behind him is writing something and also thinking, wow, this guy has an interesting, very destructive, very weird wishes. He's asking for some weird stuff. But that's okay. We'll make it happen. That's how universe works. There is no positive or negative. There is no polarity there. There is no good and bad. There is no right and wrong. There is no good and evil. It's all about our choices. Our choices create our awarenesses. So negative experience is still an experience. And we judge all of it so much that we continue creating all that we don't desire. So what if we stop and look at what we have created so far, and instead of making it a wrongness or evil, we say, oh, interesting choice I made. What can I choose now? What if it's that simple? There were magic created with bodies by a lot of people when they chose something different. Amazing book by Anita Marjani, Dying to Be Me, where she got rid of cancer within 3 weeks. She was totally cancer-free from stage 4. And there are so many others that just chose different. That just chose, okay, this doesn't work for me. What will I choose now? And the choice is only good for 10 seconds. Because when we start looking at decisions and judgments and conclusions, they all heavy. They all take us back to the contraction, to the feeling bad, to feeling awful. What if we expand that? And that's where the sexualness, the sex comes in. Because when it's true sexualness, it's very light, because that's what's true. When we are having sex, we're receiving. We are being, we are allowing our body to receive all energies. When I say the word sex and sexualness, how much expansion is there? The sex is receiving in this reality. Sexuality is different, because that's when this world, media, schools, families, pornography, they all turn sex and sexualness, contracted it, and turned it into a judgment of what is sex and sexualness, which is not true, because a lot of times it's cutting parts of you. Sexuality is what or who I will or will not receive. And it's different from copulation. Please realize that. This is not about going and copulate with everybody. This is about just receiving from the universe, receiving from yourself. Because a lot of times people say, oh, I'm heterosexual. If it's a woman, the judgment is, I will not have sex with a woman. Meaning, can you actually receive from yourself if you're a woman? The answer is no. What if you can go beyond that and receive from everyone and everything in the universe? How much of ease and joy and abundance will it create for you? when you don't have a judgment of who or what you will receive from. You still don't have to have copulation and sex with somebody you don't like. And that's actually doesn't matter if it's a guy or a girl or whatever it is. It's about who actually excites you, who you can have fun with, who can be a contribution to you, and who can actually be nurturing to your body. And that's at any age, and especially when you start aging. And again, aging is a disease. What if you don't have to age? And what if you don't have to stop anything? What if you can actually receive from aging? How much more can you actually be, and how much fun can you have if you don't resist aging? I had a friend who actually used to say, I'm older than dirt, and now because I'm old, I can act the way I desire, and people will just judge me eccentric old lady. And I'm like, interesting. At that time I thought that was stupid, but in reality, what if that is a fallacy? What if it's not true? What if you can act and be you no matter what age? And so what if you receive judgments? What if you receive judgment if you're old, if you're young, if you're middle-aged? What if I tell you that it actually can open up the world of difference, the world of abundance, the world of receiving, if you don't resist any judgments, yours or anybody else? Because judgment is nothing more than somebody else's point of view. Isn't it? That's what judgment is. It's a point. And it does hurt if you actually look at that. The point, like an arrow, can hurt if you contract it, if you're resisting it. If you don't, if the arrow goes through you like air, it doesn't hurt. And that's where interesting point of view comes in. Let's do it together again. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view about aging and sex. Interesting point of view. They have this interesting point of view about aging and sex. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view about them having interesting point of view about sex and aging. How are you feeling? A little different. And please drop your barriers and expand. It makes life much, much easier. And this time for our third break of the show. Wow, time flies. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is sex and aging. And in the first 3 parts of the show, we were talking, in the first one, we were talking about sex and sexualness, and how is it healing and nurturing and elements of sex. In part 2, we were talking about the aging and sex and how we are judging it. And in the third part, we also were talking about, actually in the second, we talked about orgasm and how to have orgasmic life. In the third one, we were talking about aging and how our point of view creates our reality. So we have only not a lot of time left, let's put it this way, in the show, but time is not real. And that's actually our next week's show. It's going to be in Russian. I believe I did some podcasts on that topic in English, but next week will be Russian show. Time is not real, время оно реально. And we will be talking about time. Also, I'd like to remind you that there are classes going on around the world, free and paid. There is going to be a Symphony of Possibilities this Thursday in Russian. There is going to be Gratitude Beyond Thanksgiving with that I'll be co-facilitating with Rachel Silber. There is going to be 2 foundations, one in Russian, November 18th through 23rd, and then I will be co-facilitating with Rachel Silber Foundation in December, 12th, 17th to 20th. And body classes, one at the beginning of December in Chicago area and in Taiwan in February. So you can find out more on creatingabundancewithease.com or accessconsciousness.com. There is going to be also Creating Abundance with Ease in Russian on 16th of November, and Being You intro on 16th of December. I'm like, 16th of November it's interesting because they look the same. Anyway, you can check all those classes, take them, not take them. There is a lot of videos on YouTube channel that you can watch for free. Also on Facebook, you can join a couple of groups I'm in Being You Without Hiding with Rachel Silber. We were doing a lot of clearings. Also on Creating Abundance with Ease page, there is a lot of free stuff, and on Instagram. So join me on this journey of changing the world, kind of like one topic at a time, I would say. So you can also contact me through email, website, through a lot of things to find out more about any events, and maybe have a private session if there is something specific you would like to work on or play with. Now with the topic aging and sex and aging, that's my question to you. What if your point of view created all of it? Doesn't matter what age you are. How much are you limiting your sexualness? And how much are you speeding up your aging? And what are you avoiding with that? Because a lot of things we avoid by actually creating problems. Aging is not one of them. Same as sex. If we are having it, not having it, a lot of it has to do of how we see ourselves. If we see ourselves worthy or not worthy of whatever it is, a lot of times we're shutting down. And by shutting down our energies, we're shutting down our sexualness, we're shutting down our receiving, meaning we're shutting down sex. Even if you're having copulation, how much of that is actually copulation, putting the parts together, and not actually orgasmic sexualness that it could be? What if we can change all of that by our point of view? And our tool of the week, as you realized by now, is interesting point of view. So let's do it together. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. They have this interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view that they have interesting point of view. So everywhere where you are still holding on to all the points of view about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, how much sex you can have, how much you cannot have when you get older. What if it's just a point of view? Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view about everything about sex. Interesting point of view. They have interesting point of view about sex. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view about them having an interesting point of view about sex. And we have only a couple of minutes left. And I would like to remind you just to be mindful of everything you say, everything you be, not so much be, but everything you say or think, because that's how you create your life. Because if you're saying or thinking some judgments of your body, of you, you're creating more of that. If you're saying or thinking something about the lack that you don't have, or something that you resist to having, you're creating it. So just be mindful. Just look at what, for the next week, look and feel and be aware of what you're creating with the words. Because in the Kabbalah, there is a phrase, abracadabra, I create as I speak. And that's how we create our lives. So let's start creating our life from actually what we desire, what will contribute to our life, what will be nurturing, instead of what we are afraid, what we don't want, what we don't desire. And just be present with who you are. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. They have this interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. I have this interesting point of view. That they have this interesting point of view. And the antidote to everything, pretty much, is allowance and gratitude. You cannot be in judgment if you're in allowance. You cannot be in judgment if you are grateful for the person, for the things, and you can be grateful for anything, including good, bad, and ugly. You can be grateful for when the person is wonderful and when the person is an asshole. This is as simple as it gets. I love all of you. And as I said, next week, same time, same place, it will be in Russian, and the following week will be in English. Just keep watching, listening, and maybe I'll see you someday, someplace, in a live show or in a live audience of the class. Love you all. Bye-bye. See you later.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.